Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, April 4th. We've got the prompt at the beginning, as soon as we logged in here, to tell us to finish up our daily quests so we get these free card packs. Although it didn't give you the actual information you needed to know, because it said finish it up before the new year starts. But they're talking about the Year of the Raven, Year of the Mammoth, fake New Year in Hearthstone that doesn't have a solid date. Except for one news article that I was able to find of April 10th. So one assumes that on April 10th, that'll be the last point where you can get the packs, and that probably is the last point also in which that's probably the exact point when the new expansion comes out. I have to assume that. Let's see, Warlock and 5 games with Hunter or Druid and 5 games with Major Shaman. Hopefully the Tavern Brawl will help us a little bit. I got this free pack. I don't know why. I logged in and said here's a free pack for finishing a daily quest. So it seems like there might have been a glitch or something that happened. I don't know if I got a free pack for every account even. So on my Asian account, like, only one of those cards was even new. Was even like not new. I guess what would you call that? Extra? Yeah, extra would be the right phrase. So we're getting more cards. By getting a pack roughly every day, they've really done something here to try to help the new players, but they're also kind of hurting the new players, because they didn't make enough of an advertisement push, in my opinion, to get people online and playing Hearthstone a few weeks before the new expansion. And I still feel like when the new expansion comes, you're going to have a lot of old players that have quit playing Hearthstone, and you're going to have a lot of new players come in, and they're just not going to have these card packs that we've been getting for the past couple of weeks. And that's only going to hurt us in the hurt the new players in the long run. Let's see. As the Witchwood looms close and an enchanted raven appears in the tavern, it's looking for mischief. Choose a class and gain a deck with the Raven's Blessing. So let's see if we can play Warlock cards to start off with and get that daily quest done. Let's see, let's pull up my news also so we can see where we're there. The biggest news for any YouTuber today is that a YouTuber, at the current moment, as far as I understand it, a female, sort of Iranian descent, best I can understand it, YouTuber who clearly had mental problems, went to YouTube's headquarters and shot and injured 3 people, and then shot herself, which is quite unique. Certainly a story. I've been trying to get as much news to be as accurate about the reporting of this, and who knows, it is very possible that this is going to get flagged immediately by YouTube and for even talking right now. And that's kind of the problem here. Is the lady clearly was crazy, but she had a channel, if you're to believe it, that's more successful than mine. And she had 4 channels. Well, several were in Farsi, so maybe those channels in Farsi in her native language made a little bit more sense, and maybe she had some appeal in that way that doesn't translate over to her English videos, because her English videos do look like they are really low quality productions. But her channel was more successful than mine. She had 100,000 subscribers. There was an instance where she had 300,000 views on a video and she got 10 cents for it. And this is the ad apocalypse. This is the algorithms hiding her videos. That's what angered her. The way she reacted was wrong. I'm sort of reminded, kind of like the Boston Tea Party, though. You know, like when you're frustrated with this overwhelming force of YouTube that has built such a terrible algorithm, or intentionally built a terrible algorithm, or at the very least intentionally kept using a terrible algorithm that hides content from people that want to see it. Because, like I said, 100,000 subscribers, a lot of views. Like, how do you get 300,000 views on a video and only get 10 cents on it? You do that because it's been flagged and demonetized. Like, one of her videos was an exercise video, and as best as I can see in this exercise video, she's not doing anything, and she gets it manually reviewed after it had been flagged for inappropriate, and the people that look at it say there's inappropriate content in it, and they just agree with whatever the algorithm says, which is certainly instances I have seen in my own channel where that is the case. YouTube becomes this weird system where it feels a lot of times like it's just evolved into a scam designed to make a lot of people make a lot of content on YouTube, bring in a lot of viewers, and then that, instead of even giving a few pennies to the creators that are making content, they're funneling those viewers up to PewDiePie and Logan Paul and the chosen few. They're funneling viewers to YouTube Red. They're funneling viewers to YouTube TV. And meanwhile, they're downright exploiting the low class. And this lady, she had 100,000 subscribers. She wasn't even kicked out of the YouTube Partner Program, as best as I can tell, for not having enough subscribers. Maybe she was kicked out of the Partner Program because she didn't have enough watch time. That's possible. I'm really not sure what is going on here. It seems like cars are just getting random buffs. It would kind of make sense if her channel had a lot of views, but people decided to leave really early because there's just a lack of interest in the quality and the content that she was making. Like, that would sort of make sense, yeah. But I don't know. We really don't have a lot of information right now, and I would really like to see somebody go by the numbers. Her YouTube channels now have been deleted, so maybe somebody can get to the Internet Archives and see if they can view some of the things on her channels. Like, if YouTube themselves come back and try to dispute any of her post-mortem claims on her website saying that YouTube demonetized a video or that she got a certain amount of views, I honestly wouldn't believe YouTube. And her claims of being censored and hidden and shadow banned effectively all seem valid and realistic and believable. Furthermore, in the day that this was happening, there were no videos on YouTube trending. There were no videos from people that I subscribe to that I know would talk about these events. Nothing has come out on YouTube talking about the shooting until a day later. Is that because I just happened to have a subscriber feed and trending, and everybody managed to hold back for one day? No, absolutely not. Videos were held back. Videos were censored, talking about the shooting itself. I can't prove it, but I can highly believe and speculate that that was the case. So in this lady's claims that YouTube censors, I'm pretty sure YouTube censored. They deleted her channel, so they definitely censored her there. There's other issues, certainly, and I feel like the YouTube people are probably doing a lot of mental gymnastics, while people who are against the SJWs that run YouTube are also doing a lot of mental gymnastics right now, because you have a woman, which is one minority, you have a lady of Middle Eastern descent, which is another minority, and both of them have both of those things lead to a very out of the stereotypical and true statistically shooting instances. Although, to be fair, this really wasn't a spree killing. This wasn't as well. I guess they all kind of are that way, aren't they? Like, it's a really thin line to say, did this person have grievances? And in this instance, I think she did have legitimate grievances, but she was enacting them in an inappropriate way. But I mean, honestly, what are you gonna do? Like, YouTube is such a huge corporate entity. We've already had people try to sue YouTube for their bad behavior, for their censorship, for their adpocalypse, for their demonetization, and fail. And so if you've tried to work within the laws and the laws are stacked up against you, that's back to the Boston Tea Party thing. And so I'm hoping that if any good can come out of this incident, is that YouTube itself will think, wait a minute, what we've been doing has been wrong. We've been poorly communicating when we are doing something that, when we do actually have to do something wrong. We've been abusing our employees effectively, and we need to not turn people into irate people. A lot of people on YouTube that make content are desperate. A lot of people on YouTube are not as mentally balanced as you would as a normal person would be. And that is certainly it. As YouTube is getting rid of gun channels, as YouTube is getting rid of conspiracy channels, that they're literally targeting the people who already had grievances against the world and making themselves a target. So it's very possible that something similar to this will happen another time. It's, at the very least, YouTube is very bad with its creator relations and public relations. Is there anything else to really say about it? Not right now, I don't think. I don't want to talk about it too much. From my perspective, as what is relatively just a totally failed YouTube channel, and even in comparison to this lady's YouTube channel, I'm left with a odd feeling that if I were a violent person, I would have the exact same grievances as she did. I wouldn't have access to a handgun. There's also an argument to be said that if all shooters were limited in the United States to only getting handguns, we would only see shootings like this where three other people were injured and she shot herself, whereas assault rifles, militarized weapons designed only to fire lots of bullets and kill lots of people at a very far distance, allow people to, in a much shorter amount of time, do a lot more damage. But certainly a lot of people don't want to hear that as an argument, and will try to argue against that. There's a lot of politicized topics here that could be brought up, but at the end I feel like they are all just going to be distractions away from the main thing of sure, when the Boston Tea Party happened, it was a violent action, but it led to the creation of the United States. It was a violent action to prove it. There's a Star Trek episode where Data asks Captain Picard, Star Trek The Next Generation, about why more people don't use terrorism, because there's been many instances in history where terrorism succeeded, where violent actions that we now call terrorism, as the new popular term, have succeeded and effectively brought about change. And I'm hoping that this is the only violent action that ever has to happen to bring about change in YouTube. And that they realize the simplest of things, the obvious thing. They should have just been open and honest with this lady. Said, look, this is why your videos aren't getting money, when they obviously should have been. She apparently directly communicated with one of her videos being demonetized, and they would not explain it to her and tell her to a satisfactory end why or what was in her exercise video that they considered inappropriate. She says they just repeated the same line. There are inappropriate things in there. That's not an explanation. That's just you covering your butt. I almost wonder if maybe some of the subcontracted Indian people that they have looking and confirming the flags and the demonetization, is it potentially in her case that she was of a different Middle Eastern tribe than the Indian people that were choosing the flag? Did they just literally not like her political stance? Which her political stance is interesting, because she was clearly not all there mentally, but she was like a vegan pro-animal rights activist. Like, she's as much as she could, she was integrating into the standard California way of thinking with a standard liberal agenda. She wasn't an Alex Jones type lunatic. She was the other side. She wasn't a alt-right, right-wing conservative. I'm sure YouTube would have loved it if she was just a standard white male, flag-waving, MAGA hat-wearing person, because then they could really dismiss this whole incident as not being anything that's their fault, when really it's completely their fault. Even at the core of it, the security at their offices is their fault. Like, clearly, the fact that somebody got into the building or into the outside eating area, is their own fault. There's a disputed story now that the father called the police and told him he was worried about her doing something, The police are now saying they didn't get that message. I wouldn't be surprised if he told some dispatcher or somebody and it just never got translated. The police apparently did interview her, like sleeping in a car, but I mean, if you're not breaking any law at the moment and she didn't appear to be a threat to herself or others, she was, that's a real nail in the coffin too, because it's harder now to say that she was having a mental breakdown and just bouncing off the walls like a Looney Tune cartoon, just totally insane, raving, foaming at the mouth insane. It's hard to say that she was doing that when the same day she was interviewed and determined by police to not be a threat to herself or others. That shows a level of calmness, that shows a level of calculation. It shows premeditation. If she would, it doesn't really matter if it shows premeditation because she already killed herself, but it shows that this isn't a random target. She specifically wanted to go after the YouTube people, and she had legitimate concerns. I've said it many times here. She has the exact same legitimate concerns that almost every YouTuber has. That she is the personification of the craziness and the frustration of every YouTuber on this that exists. Well, I'm not winning these tavern brawls, but at least I'm playing the cards, so we're making some progress there. And some YouTubers now have gone too far, and they're taking their criticisms of YouTube down. I believe Boogie2998 has taken down some of his videos because he doesn't want to be associated with her. I think that's the wrong thing. I don't want to be associated with her violence. I wouldn't have done what she was. I'm not condoning what she did. But her criticisms are 100% all YouTubers' criticisms. And the same criticisms that the viewers have, too, as they get worse and worse content. And they get shoved into Logan Paul and PewDiePie. Anyways, Tragic Master put a smiley face on, and hi Tragic. And I guess that's all I need to say, unless somebody wants to come on the chat and ask any questions or do anything with that. So we can just move to video game talk. Mostly I keep it at video game talk, but every now and then it is necessary to cover YouTube related things. Susan Wojcicki put out a standard boilerplate "I have no words" statement. I doubt Susan Wojcicki was even at the YouTube headquarters at the time. We'll see in the following weeks to a month whether they decide to make any more official statement or anything. With everything in flux, their best bet is to not say anything until the full police investigation is done and closed, which could be years later. But my real fear is they're not going to learn anything from this. I don't particularly come from the idea that people learn or change. I have a much more negative opinion of people, and I think that they're just going to be more so, they're going to dig their heels in deeper and be more so. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wave of more censorship and a wave of more demonetization, and that they move the goalpost even more, so that new channels can't come in at all. Before this, they were certainly talking about a self-certification that they plan on trying for YouTubers that can monetize, where they have to fill out a 20 question or so questionnaire saying whether or not a video would be suitable for all advertisers by, like, does this have violence in it? Does this have cursing in it? Does this what the most controversial question in the sample questionnaire is, does this harass or say anything hateful about any protected classes, which is their typical SJW thing. And of course they would take away your ability to fill out the questionnaire and thus not be demonetized if they ever had a video flagged and had it manually reviewed. But by filling out the questionnaire, what they're effectively doing is they're trying to fire the employees that they had hired to manually review, and that way they can lower their overhead costs and have fewer manual review people employed. So yeah, that's what they were talking about. They're also talking about their new YouTube video manager beta and impressions and like the idea of impressions as if they're this great new thing. Impressions have existed in internet advertising for many years, and they're basically scams. I mean, you really can't call them much of anything else. They give people the idea that their videos are getting seen, but what really all it turns into is your video amongst a group of as many as 9 or 12 other videos were shown for maybe a fraction of a second, and then before somebody closed the page. Mahmood's on, says, "Hi Rydo, how are you? Haven't heard from you in a while, Mahmood. I was thinking about you just a few days ago. Honestly, I was like, yeah, I haven't heard from Mahmood in a long time. I figured he'd just moved on. In that vein, I didn't do it at the beginning of this video, but I'm going to have to start training myself to just do the standard shill thing, where I ask people to subscribe and click the notification bell. It seems pretty obvious right now people are not seeing all my videos when they come out. So two things there. I need to get people to click the notification bell. Everybody needs to click the notification bell. Even if you don't think you need to click the notification bell, you need to click the notification bell. And I need to get better to actually schedule these live streams so people so things work better. Like Mahmood hasn't been on the chat for so long that my channel was going really good. I think the last time Mahmood was on the chat, and since then the adpocalypse happened, the demonetizations happened, getting kicked out of the YouTube partner program for not having 1,000 subscribers happened. I mean, so much has happened to YouTube as far as the YouTube career. Personally, as far as my channel is, like, we're just kind of chugging along now. Just upset that I'm not getting the pennies. I was making about $1 a week before they kicked me out of the YouTube partner program. And so now I'm trying a kind of crazy monetization strategy where I'm just asking people to friend me on Steam. The information's down in the description, and gift me games, which someone has actually gifted me a couple of games. That's a direct way for people to put their money directly to me and not give 30% to YouTube. The other thought is I'm just trying to get up in subscribers and feel like I have enough of a community where it would be legitimate and reasonable to think about making a Patreon. We were talking about in the Monday stream about how if I had an artist, I would probably have an artist make some kind of merchandise store and let the artists take most of the profits from that. That way they could get a pay. It's kind of weird, but like from my idea, it would be I'd like to create a job. I'd like to actually be a job creator and have an artist make thumbnails for my channel, which my channel certainly would succeed better if it did have thumbnails. And then because they would be doing the massive amount of work of doing all the art on my YouTube channel, then I would hope that I could mostly let them get paid a reasonable wage through selling merch, but they would also have to make the art for the merch, and I'm also wondering what just having a website alone would benefit a YouTuber. Like, I can't really host my videos on my own website, but I could have an external website that just auto updates and publishes just my videos. I don't know really who would want that or whether that would succeed at all, but I'm giving it some consideration. Yeah. Let's see. Mahmoud said I have the final exam in 5/23 and I will be a doctor. Good thing. And then he said, I wish you will be the best YouTuber ever. Oh yeah, no, remember that's why you stopped, is you had to study for finals. A little backstory on Mahmoud. Mahmoud is of Middle Eastern descent who is studying in Russia to be a doctor. He wants to work in Africa and help the poor and needy. And every card I'm playing is killing me, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I wish I would be the best YouTuber ever too. Although, in all honesty, I just want a realistic thing. Like, there's one Fortnite Twitch streamer out there with who said he got $500,000 a month. I don't need $500,000 a month. If I got $500,000 in 1 month, that would set me quite nicely, probably for nearly a decade. Like, I could probably live for nearly 10 years on $5,000. I just wanted to get my channel successful enough to be, 40, maybe 50,000 US dollars, just middle class. Like, my channel was never really designed to be super popular. I know I'm not going to be super popular because I'm not doing that high energy PewDiePie type thing. I'm not doing face cams. I'm not playing the newest, most popular games. I'm not doing a Captain Sparkles type videos, which Captain Sparkles kind of came up and went down in his popularity, and not too many people talking about him these days. But yeah, I just wanted a normal amount of money, just something to live off of, and not have to be an e-bagger. Particularly, I would prefer to get it from ad revenue, to just be able to run an ad at the beginning, and that's it. No mid-roll ads, no end-roll ads. I would like just a normal living from that, so we can keep everybody happy. I don't have to have people paying large amounts of money on Patreon. The last thing I want is to have like one Patreon subscriber who was paying me $5,000 a month, and then I'm just working for him and bending over backwards to keep that one Patreon subscriber happy. So I would much prefer to have 100 people give me a penny than one person give me $1. But in the real world, where things are expensive and you have to actually pay bills, any money is good money, I suppose. Tragic Master said, good luck with the exams. Mahmoud said, Thanks very much. Love y'all. Let's see. Our first story from Gematsu is Sengoku Barsara Festival. It has been set for July 4th. It's in Tokyo. Capcom has announced a festival to be thrown. It's not really a festival. It's more advertising event for this game series. Sengoku Barsara games, and it will also have the producers of the Senran Kagura series. So if you happen to be in Nakano, Tokyo, July 14th, you could go see that. Let's see, let's play this. And then end of turn. Not really. Wish I had more time to look through these news articles so I could have skipped over that one. I thought that was going to be more informative. Alright, well this will be more informative. PC Gamer has an article and everybody's talking about it. Middle-earth Shadow of War, the sequel to Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, is getting rid of the loot boxes. I've been playing Darksiders 2, which is a game that oddly added loot boxes. It's not with real money loot boxes, but instead they are in-game currency to get loot boxes, to get randomly generated weapon drops. Much like Borderlands, although Darksiders 2 came out before Borderlands 1, and Borderlands 1 fixes a lot of the slowness that's in Darksiders 2. And Darksiders 1 didn't have any of the random loot drops. And Darksiders 2 shouldn't have had it. Darksiders 1 is a very Zelda-like Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker type adventure game where you had one sword that gets leveled up a little bit, and you had one secondary weapon that got leveled up a little bit, and then that was kind of the only things you ever expected to happen or would happen. But yeah, the idea of a game being balanced around loot boxes, whether you're talking Darksiders 2, which is what I'm playing right now, or whether you're talking Middle-earth Shadow of War, it sort of fixes things. It's the first step, but it's a lot of work, because now you've got to go and change the game back to what it should have been in the first place. And with Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition, they really didn't do that. In fact, there's many visual glitches I'm seeing in the Definitive Edition that aren't improved. There's loading that really shouldn't be there for as old of a game as it is. There's just gameplay mechanics that aren't explained still. It needs tutorial tips. At the very beginning of the game, it tells you to equip certain weapons. You have to press down on the D-pad. It just flashes on the screen real quickly. You hit OK. By an hour later, you will have forgotten that that's what you need to do. And I spent at least 3 or 4 hours playing the game uncertain, just completely lost as to how I'm supposed to equip abilities and use them. And that's not good game design. The level design is crazy in Darksiders 2, and it seems like it was created by a different team. So like the old game is not great, and on top of the old game not being that good, it's oddly not improved at all by much. I mean, it has higher resolutions. That's about all the porters did for the Definitive Edition. And it hurts now that they're making Darksiders 3, and it makes me wonder if Darksiders 3 is going to be a good game. So far from what we've seen, it seems like they're going to just conveniently forget everything they did in Darksiders 2 and go back to the gameplay style of Darksiders 1. But but I'm not certain. Even in the demos I've seen of Darksiders 3, it seems pretty slow when Fury is swinging her whip around attacking enemies. And the game needs to be a lot faster than what Darksiders 1 was, because Darksiders 1 was a little bit slow for its time, and it's really, really slow for 2018. Let's see. Mahmoud said, really good luck. See you after exams. Yes, good luck on the exams, Mahmoud. Don't fail the exams watching YouTube. Make the right choice. Maybe after you're a doctor, you can send me a part of your paycheck through Patreon. Once you well, I don't even think Mahmoud is planning on making too much money as a doctor if he's gonna be doing charity. Specifically focusing on Shadow War ditching loot boxes, they're going to kind of screw you out of your gold if you don't spend it after a certain point. But then they're also going to rebalance the post-game section that was just this huge grind, and they're going to try and rebalance everything. They're trying as best as they can, and I imagine a lot of this is an internal fight between the people that never wanted loot boxes in the first place, which I assume was the actual developers of the game, and the publisher, who absolutely did want loot boxes in the game. So yeah, I can definitely see that now, months later, after they've gotten all the money out of the suckers who were buying the loot boxes, the developers of the game have gotten their way and gotten that removed, so that they can try to have a good game and have something that is appealing for when their next piece of DLC comes out. The reasons that they claim they're fixing this are reasons that people were telling them, I'm sure, even in beta, before any video game reviewer or any outside source had even seen the game. People already knew that the loot box system was getting in the way. Shadow War also got off the hook a little bit because Battlefront happened, and people were more passionately upset about Battlefront ruining Star Wars than Middle-earth ruining a side story of the Tolkien series of Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. This isn't, however, like them turning over a new leaf for no reason, because they're still more than likely going to release another game. The publisher of Middle-earth Shadow War is almost certainly going to release some other game with loot boxes in the same mechanism. Maybe not as obvious, maybe not as horrible, but they're not going to come out on stage at E3 and say, no more loot boxes. We've heard the customers, they don't like them. We're not doing that. That's not the case. This is a cynical ploy, and can really only be treated as a cynical ploy, even if it isn't, for them to sell their DLC. I believe Deus Ex Mankind Divided has done something sort of similar, and that game was selling, I believe, for less than $10, which is quite a low amount of money considering that game is maybe a year and a half old now. So I would hope that this means people are learning their lesson, but we're still gonna see loot boxes. We're still gonna see crazy systems. Why did my timer just crash my chat? Let's see. Gotta get the chat back now. There we go. Yeah, we spent most of this episode talking about recent events and not that much about video game events. And I spent most of this episode just playing the Tavern Brawl to play Warlock cards, which arguably I very possibly did not like even need to do this. I could probably just play a different deck that has more Warlock cards. Destroy a minion while your mana crystals taunt. Let's see. He keeps saying all these phrases, but I don't know if anybody knows what those phrases are about. There's a game that came on Steam March 13th. That was a while ago. It has no reviews. It's called Nobody Knows. It looks like it's a nudity. It's tagged adventure RPG. It's an RPG Maker game. RPG Maker games. Not in consideration. It has no English language support too. Interesting. It's only simplified Chinese. $1.99. There's a lot of RPG Maker games out there on Steam. Seriously, Steam needs to stop letting them on. And just like visual novel and RPG Maker games, those two have one person in charge of looking at all the visual novel games and one person looking at all the RPG Maker games. When those come out, just for the most part reject them. It's a mean thing to say, but it's what needs to happen. Like, we need to stop getting most visual novels need to be rejected, and most RPG Maker games, almost all RPG Maker games, need to be rejected. They just don't have a visual quality that's acceptable. That's just the case. Like, there's been an all-time peak of one person, according to Steam's database, that's played this game since March 13th. And that's just ridiculous. Like, I think Japanese visual novels probably they need to go through a publisher, like a trusted publisher, to get on Steam. That way there's some curation of quality too. Those will have some kind of fan base and people will really want to play it. But then there's a lot of low quality things. Maybe instead of looking specifically at categories, they should just look at every game and say, this appears to be a low visual, like unappealing visual game. Can you give us any reason whatsoever why we would allow this ugly looking game on Steam? And if they say no, they can't, then you shouldn't let them on Steam. Just give a little bit of pushback. Anything. Make the people think. Oddly, the shooter of YouTube is kind of the same type of person, same type of delusional thinking person that I think puts a lot of these games on Steam. They think that they're going to make money. They think that they're going to become famous, and they think their product is good. when it really isn't. However, the problem is she did have 100,000 subscribers, is what I heard. And she was getting 300,000 views. So she did have an audience. It wasn't all in her head. Even at the level of quality of work that she was doing, which I didn't feel like was good quality work. Yeah, that definitely was a misstep. So if somebody came on Steam and they put on a terrible game and it had been out for a month or half a month and it had lots of reviews and lots of sales, that would be useful. That would be surprising, but that's not the case. Most of these asset flip games aren't getting highlighted on Steam, and they aren't making any sales. Let's see. We have a game called The Outer Rim Survivor. It has 8 reviews right now. It came out April 3rd, 2 days ago. This looks like it's a flying space sim type game. What is it tagged as? Early access, free to play, action adventure. Well, it's free to play, early access for game, so I can't really say anything too bad about it. It has 1 negative review and 7 positive ones. Let's see, Too Long Didn't Read is terribly optimization and horrendous controls at the same time, combined with impossibility to play on super low resolutions and what one day may come with some game mode for free. Only some game modes may be free, and campaign will be paid DLC. I wouldn't get into a free-to-play game like this. This game could easily be an asset flip, and I just don't recognize it as that. And that all the fancy rocks and spaceships might just be asset flips, but it very well may be custom art too. Sadly, there's too many space flying simulators out there already, so I don't know why you would want to get into one that is from a developer that has nothing else on Steam and has nothing there. If you're going to do anything, why not get into some of those Kickstarted ones that they've put so much work into already? Even No Man's Sky might be a better move right now with its updates and changes than playing The Outer Rim Survivor. It has an all-time peak of 13 players. Why not just play EVE Online? Well, we've got a lot more games to talk about. As I'm still trying to figure out a smoother and better way to explain what games are coming out. And 4 common and 1 rare. I'm getting this pretty consistently when I open packs, where these cards are not giving me anything special. But they may also be new cards too, so like only 3 of those cards actually were extra. So for my Asian account, buying a Knights of the Frozen Throne pack, any pack like that, is actually rather helpful. So we're at like 63 packs potentially opened when the new expansion comes out, plus 4 extra right now for the new expansion. I think the vast majority of what we're gonna do is we're gonna open probably 50 packs of classic cards for the European and Asian accounts, and then probably flip it and open 50 packs for the new expansion on the main Americas account, because that account has most, or as much as it's really going to get, of the classic cards, and I really don't have much of a reason why I'd want to go back to any of the other expansions. Anyways, we needed 2 things done, so the struggle will become real as we try to play with either the Druid or the Hunter, or the Mage or the Shaman. I imagine we'll try Druid and Hunter, and that'll be that. If I had a ton of news, which I really don't, maybe I'd try to get all 3 daily quests done for the Asian account, and then all 3 quests done for the other ones. We have somebody on the chat says, T-Rez says hi. Hi, T-Rez. Stay tuned if you're watching live. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, click the bell, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me with YouTube and allegedly tells the algorithm that my videos are worth watching. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. If you want to support me even further, friend me on Steam and gift me either a game or a gift card. That's more helpful than anything else right now. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.